Hi there, Scorpio. Thank you for joining me for your monthly forecast for November. But first, I want to just take you back into the end of October, the 30th of October to be precise, because then there was a new moon in your sign. But it was a new moon that combined brilliantly with Neptune, the planet of dreams. Now, Neptune, of course, has been quite a mischievous influence over the last 5 or 6 months, and it has forged a pretty tricky angle to Saturn. It may have meant that something that you've wanted to achieve in a creative context may not necessarily have made particular sense from a more financial viewpoint. But I think as you come into this new month, there is an opportunity for you to think afresh, to be much more original and innovative in your approach. And it's possible that there can be some kind of evolution, and this can show up particularly between the 4th and the 10th as the Sun and Mercury angle to your modern ruler of Pluto, which is all about change. And that's in a sector of your scope that's to do with how you think and how you communicate. So you can be very persuasive across those group of days, especially with those more original strands. But equally, anything you're doing in a more discreet way or applies to something you've worked upon for a long time can also start to shape up in a more satisfying way this month, as Jupiter forges a fine link to Saturn for the whole of the month. Jupiter's about growth, opportunities, new possibilities. It's also about fortune. It's in a more hidden part of your situation, but Saturn is in your sector of resources still, so don't underestimate what you've done in the past and how it links into what you're trying to do now. However, one of the things you are perhaps going to have to marshal from the 7th through to the 14th is a potential lack of patience, because your desire to get cracking on the things that are really important to you can clash with the expectations and needs of those people immediately around you. A quarter moon on the 7th and the relocation of your traditional ruler of Mars on the 9th into a tender part of your scope could make you a bit defensive if things are not going quite at the pace you want. It's going to be important to use a degree of charm, and fortunately from the 10th Venus is going to be the planet that helps you to provide just that facet. Venus moves into Capricorn, joining up with Pluto. Venus in this area could see that someone is going to be intrigued by how you come across, not just your ideas, in the following 28 days. So exciting. And also Mercury is going to be reinforcing your financial sector from the 13th. Mercury moving into this area and out of your own sign suggests that something you've been working on in the first 2 weeks of this month could start to show more tangible evidence of progress. But when it comes to relationships, the full moon, which occurs on the 14th in your opposite sign, suggests you need to stay sensitive to others. However much you're impassioned about what you want to do and how quickly you want to deliver, other people may still be catching up in your wake, particularly if you have been feeling so much more dynamic, and I think there's every chance of that. So you need to explain things properly and bring people along with you. If not, a relationship could start to become a little bit more fractious, so just be conscious of that. Now the Sun is going to be moving on the 22nd, but just before then, Neptune, the planet of dreams, which has been such a draining influence for us all this year, is going to go into forward motion. It's in your sector of hopes and dreams and the type of things that you really love in life, whether it's getting together with your friends and being playful, perhaps it's to do with your creative talents or even your love life. And if these areas have seemed a bit bogged down this year, it wouldn't be a surprise. Now, this change of direction is not going to solve all the potential glitches that Neptune can create, because by the 29th, once the Sun is getting more established in Sagittarius, it is going to be squaring up to Neptune as this month draws to a close, along with Mercury. There may be something that you do need to think about that's more practical, and you may have to resist a desire to have something that's more ephemeral, something that could have a bit of a price ticket on it. And if you do find yourself being lured into something like this, try to think about what things would be like if your personal situation changed, particularly as far as your resources. But it's from the 22nd to the 27th that the most sensational aspect of this month occurs. That is when Venus combines with Pluto, your modern ruler. Pluto's about depth, it's about passion, but it's also about power, sex and money. In the third solar house, it's possible that you're going to have a conversation which on the face of it seems perfectly plausible. Someone could be uber charming towards you, which could be very, very appealing to your ego. And they may stroke it in a very, very sophisticated way, which could see you purring with satisfaction. But if that happens, it could see you enticed into a situation which may not be very good for you. So if you do find you have some kind of meeting of minds with someone across those days, be it through work or in a more romantic context, you need to ask some serious questions about your motives and about those of the person you're encountering. There's often a catch or a hidden agenda when Venus and Pluto get together in this way. In a more positive way, it can mean that your communications with others take on a much deeper and more passionate vibe. And what you say could well be absolutely what you mean. It just depends. There are different facets to this particular influence. As the month draws to a close, yes, it's all about resources. But of course, resources have been very much under the astral microscope over the last year and a half as Saturn has been making its way through your sector of resources, and also how you feel about yourself. Your self-esteem, your values are also going to be showcased on the back of that new moon. But with the distorting influence of Neptune to the side, just be conscious that not everything may be as it appears. It's been a real pleasure being with you. Thank you for joining me. Good luck and goodbye for now.